Hi!
Hi,
Hi,
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm Nissy Saran.
Kristen Bata.
Genesis as Mama.
I'm Hannah Deacon, and we are student ambassadors of the UA&P Junior Marketing Communications team.
as students, we know how these times can be challenging.
So let us go through this process with you.
If you have questions about our university,
online learning,
or anything school life related,
feel free to message any of us through our social media handles
Right here.
right here.
Right here. With everything online, you can always go #UnitasLive with us.
Okay, so hello everyone. How are we doing today? My name's Mike Racha. I'm a fourth-year student currently taking Media Entertainment Management, and at the same time, I'm a senior manager of UA&P's Junior Marketing Communications team. And I am lucky enough to be your host today for the 9th Unitas online webinar, and I can't wait to introduce you to all of our speakers. But before we get to that, let me give you a quick background of today's event. Unitas Online is a series of webinars where our future dragons, parents, guardians, and school officials may learn more about our beloved university. In today's episode, we will be focusing on the Entrepreneurial Management program that is unique to UA&P. And to carry out this discussion, we've invited the Program Director of Entrepreneurial Management. Joining him are also alumni of the EM program to give their own personal insights about the program. To those who have sent us questions in advance, we have taken note of them and have informed the respective speakers to address these questions. But in case you have more, please indicate it in the chat box and we will tackle it during the open forum. So just to reiterate, if you have any more questions, just comment in the chat box down below and we will forward it to the speakers later for the Q&A. Now, let's get things started. To start off the program, let me introduce the man who will be helming today's event. He is currently the Program Director of Entrepreneurial Management, as well as the Vice Dean of the School of Management. He has more than 30 years of working experience in different industries, such as FMCG, pharmaceutical, beverage, and health and wellness, as well as an accomplished CEO in his own right. So please, everyone, please welcome Dr. Eli Santos. Doc, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Welcome and good morning to this info session about entrepreneurial management. First, let me share with you how this program evolved. Then I shall give you an overview of the course. After which we shall have two recent graduates from the program who will share with you their EM journey as students. Can I have the slides, Wen, please?
Can I have a permission to share, please? Thank you.
Okay. Can you do a full screen? Okay, thank you. Well, this was the first ever educational training program aimed at high school graduates who manifest an inclination towards and talent for entrepreneurial activity. These were individuals who, for example, at the age of 6 or 7, were already selling candies they got from their grandmothers, perhaps, and sold it to their classmates. At the age of 11, they were already making and selling ice buko candy or renting out their comic books to their neighborhood playmates during the school summer breaks. Doesn't this sound familiar to you? Some of you attending this session, especially the grade 12, can you put in the chat box what sort of similar ideas have you done when you were younger? You know, and what interests? What are the things that you were selling or trading? Can someone put it on the chat box, please? Before I start, before I continue. Okay, it's still too early. Perhaps you can just put it later on. This program started in 1989 and was spearheaded by Dr. Bernie Villegas, an eminent economist and co-founder of the University of Asia and the Pacific. This was in response to the need of our country to increase the base for small and medium-scale enterprises in order to achieve inclusive growth of the Philippine economy. If we look around us, look at our neighbors, Taiwan is a good example, which is an economy that is predominantly based on small businesses, not very different from many European countries. And this is our way to help our country move forward and to become a better Philippines. Okay, so what is Entrepreneurial Management Program? It is a degree program that captures and nurtures entrepreneurial talent as early as the adolescent year. It is also a program for those who want to set up and nurture their own business and eventually develop them into lasting enterprises. So, there are many ways of producing large crop of SMEs. The most common is to expose the individual to the school of hard knocks, letting aspiring entrepreneurs learn by trial and error. There are also short training programs that are available for everyone to study entrepreneurship. However, at UA&P, the EM program is uniquely designed to breed young entrepreneurs and develop them into well-rounded individuals who are mentally sharp, socially adept, emotionally mature, physically fit, and an upright person. This is very professor and mentor intensive. Each student spends a lot of time with a mentor or mentors who make sure that he or she is becoming more mature, tough, innovative, and an upright person as he moves on, taking on the course. Here, in the EM program, you will learn how to start the business correctly the first time and not by trial and error. You have your mentors to guide you through this to minimize hiccups along the way. Also, you will benefit from active mentoring by your respective new business coaches and mentors and personal development mentors as you launch and run your own business while in college. Now, who are these coaches and mentors for business? They are former chief executives and also current president and owner of their own companies. And each of them having a passion for entrepreneurship and also willingness to share their knowledge and experience to the younger ones. The composition of our mentors now is made up of 60% former CEOs and current CEOs, of which 20% are female and 20% are recent graduates of our program. By the way, our program is more than 25 years now and have produced more than 1,000 graduates. So let me now move on. Next slide, please. Here in the Entre program, you're able to cultivate relationships with your classmates, with your mentors, not only for business, but for life. If you want to be in business, it is important that you have good socialization skills, interpersonal relation skills, to be able to reach out to your market. At the same time, you equip yourself with the skills and credentials to launch a startup business even before you graduate. These projects of yours are done solo. This is not a group undertaking. Along the way, you earn an innovative and develop applied habits as you complete your BS in Entrepreneurship Management program. Now, there are 3 tracks in the program. The first is the academic track. This refers to the general education and business foundation subjects. This is where you learn, you acquire knowledge about the language of business, and also learning more about man, his culture, his history, and why things are what they are in the real world. Now, the NBV track, which is more known as the New Business Venture Series, is what you call the true measure of the EMP's program success in turning you into an entrepreneur, as you are challenged to integrate all your knowledge, skills, and talents and use this in establishing your successful business. The term successful is not used loosely. Every EM student knows that without a viable business at the end of the series, he or she will not be allowed to graduate from the program. But every step of the way, you have your business coach guiding you through all the different phases of setting up the business. And here you meet up with him at least face-to-face once a week. This time it's all online. And every step of the way, once a certain portion is completed, you have to present it to a panel for approval and comments before you proceed to the next step of building up the business. The third track is what we call the personal development series. This is where a mentor helps you develop the right attitude, acquire the right habits, values, and virtues that will make one a whole person who can harmonize his work, his commitment to family, his service to community, and his commitment to himself to become better in terms of improving sound mind, body, and spirit. The personal mentor here is gender specific. If you are female, then you have a female mentor, a male and male mentor. So let me now go into more detail about how all of these 3 essential tracks are blended to come out with an EM, a good EM graduate who knows how to run a business and who knows also how to deal with lifelong problems. In your first year, the focus is you as a potential entrepreneur. So you talk about entrepreneurial behavior, and we put in the basic foundation of marketing and managing the business and accounting, which is the language of business. And from there, we allow you to percolate the ideas that you would like to consider as a product or service that you will build or run in the succeeding years. By the time you go to second year, we have the NBB1 Business Opportunities series. This is where you will present your idea and use the business model canvas to present how viable it is and marketable your product is. Now, some of you may have already used the business model canvas. It's a very simple one-pager where there are 9 building blocks that will show you in one snapshot whether the business is a go or no go. The right side will tell you that in the middle part, you have your value proposition, and going to the right side of the sheet would be for you to be able to identify the market that you would like to address, and your value proposition should be something that is needed or customers would like to solve, no? Because there is a problem. And your value proposition should address a pain that your target market is experiencing or an irritant, no, that your customer is experiencing. For example, why is it that we have tricycles or pedicabs when in fact sometimes the distance that you would go would be less than a kilometer or even 400 meters away? Because the market or people who don't have rides don't feel comfortable under the sun and would like to move forward. And also, there are narrow streets that big vehicles cannot access to. So there, you're able to create a product that will serve the need of that customer. So on the right side, you will now work on how do I reach this customer? How do I communicate with them, and so on. And on the left side, which is the logistics supply side, you'll say, who are my partners? What type of organization do I need? How much money do I need? And so on. So in a snapshot, you can see now whether your business makes sense. And this you present to a panel for approval. Once this is approved, you now go to marketing research. This is where you validate the product. How big is the market? Whether there really is a market. And also your customer, you validate the needs of the customer. Again, you present this to the panel, and once approved, you now go to the next phase of your business plan, which is setting up the operations plan. What is the operations plan? How do you set up? How do you set up your office? How do you set up your production line, and so on? And every step of the way, you have a mentor to guide you through. Apart from that, you continue to study subjects on market research, operations management, business math, managerial accounting. By the time you reach third year and you have been given approval for your marketing and operations plan, you now prepare for your financial plan. This is where you learn how to do your P&L, your cash flow, and balance sheet. When I was in college, I learned to appreciate this only when I was already working. But here, you really acquire the knowledge and you're able to apply the skills. So you have a head start over others. Some people just have it on the mind, but here you have to apply it. You talk about ratio analysis, cash flow, etc. And it is real because you have to manage the money that you have invested into your project. That will bring you now to the next phase of registering the business during the second semester. You start running the business. Here, you will now have to make sure that you hit your revenue targets and your bottom line targets. At least for you to be able to graduate before the pandemic, you would have to make at least an average of income of 20,000 a month for 6 months. However, with the pandemic, we have adjusted our metrics and looked at really the business on a case-to-case basis. The important thing is we see an upward trajectory and that you are able to address the problems that you are confronted with at that point in time. So when you go to 4th year, now you're more strategic. These are integrating subjects. You take up business policy, you take up international business, and also programs and policies on enterprise development. At the end of, towards the end of the program, you will have what you call the NBB5. This is the integration series where we will now ask you, what are your plans for the next 5 years when you graduate? And we'll see whether it makes sense and whether it's realistic enough. So 4th year is business implementation and eventually an audit. So this is what we call the most challenging part in the EM program, the NBB series, because this is where what we call where the rubber meets the road. But the benefit is you are a business owner by the time you graduate, and you have had the experience of running and managing the business. So, so what better way to prepare yourself to facing the real world? Whether you start off, continue with in your entrepreneurial business, entrepreneurial pursuits, or you join a company, and these companies really are looking for people who've got a different mindset, an entrepreneurial mindset, especially now during the new normal. Everything starts from zero. There's no assurance that a company has been successful for the past 50 years before the pandemic will succeed in the new normal. So entrepreneurs are in great demand. The entrepreneurial mindset has to be inculcated in every person's activity. Okay. The last track, the other track rather, is the personal development track. We don't only take care of you acquiring knowledge, business knowledge, understanding the language of business and running a real business, but rather we also have to make sure that there is an alignment in terms of what you do and in terms of you, who you are as a person. How can you be a better person for others? No. So in your first year, the focus of our personal development series is unity of life, prudence. And the second year, it's relationships. The virtue of temperance. And the third year would be civic consciousness, like to raise the consciousness on justice. And on the 4th year, the theme would be work-life balance. Here, is there such a thing as a balance? From my point of view, it is really harmonizing the 4 important domains of one's life, which is your work, or you as a student, your work as a student, your family, your service to community, and yourself. Taking care that you nourish your mind, body, and spirit every time so that you can be a positive force in the community, positive influence. Next slide. Well, these are the range of liberal arts subjects. We have theology, it's very intensive. We have theology, we have philosophy, social anthropology, physical education, morals, ethics. So this is what completes you as a person. Not only a business person, but a real, upright, and humane person. Okay. Okay. The next few slides, I'd like to show you what are the things, what are the projects that our students have undertaken? The first one is Stephanie Aquino, fourth year graduating student. This was not her original business. She originally had a business of personal recruitment, no, recruitment of personnel. Because of the pandemic, she pivoted and is now has an online business which sells garden starter kits. It includes everything one needs to grow a garden in a wooden box, which also serves as a packaging, complete with soil, seeds, seedling tray, mini tools, label sticks, and a guide booklet. Christine Matias. She's currently competing in entrepreneurial competition. Her business was in something else again, but this time she shifted to online selling of apparel. She calls it Outlier Studios. It's a brand that crafts timeless apparel pieces which underlie what it means to be unconforming, a homegrown fashion label designed by us, styled by you. So you choose. She gives several options. And the latest that I've heard is she's almost making about 300 to 500,000 now since the lockdown. You look at that smiling face, you know. Okay, next slide. Sophia Cornell, another graduating student. This I know. Her original business was composing songs for special events. She's an events organizer, but at the same time composes songs for those who ask her to do, let's say, if it is a wedding, she composes a wedding song, anniversary song, and so on. But this is no longer possible because of the pandemic. So she shifted to developing an app, a chatbot development company that creates meaningful brand and customer interactions through engaging automated conversations, targeted professionals and small to medium-sized companies within and outside the Philippines. So because there was an opportunity, you don't have to limit yourself in your online to local market, but in the foreign market. The latest I've heard the other day is that she's been able to book 2 clients, one for 50,000, the other one for 150,000. She's another participant in the competition hosted by the Entrepreneurial Organization, which is an international organization of entrepreneurs. And they are now in the process of choosing who will represent the Philippines in an international competition in the US. That's Sophia Cornell. Next slide. Miko De La Paz. This is another pivot. Because he was on Marikina and looked at the opportunity, he said, I know the show business in Marikina. I have relatives who are there, who are engaged in this. And he said, why don't I produce my own design of shoes, sneakers, but I will first introduce it in the US, where I have my relatives and sister there. And he will market it abroad first and then later on bring it back to the Philippines. Makes sense because he believes that he has a good customer base in the US. He calls it everyday sneakers meant to bring out the youth in you. Miko De La Paz. Okay, well, we took a check on our alumni. We do periodic surveys, and those who have responded says that 72% have their own businesses. They're mainly 45% in the food and beverage, 14% in fashion, 14% in services. When we talk about services, we talk about the nail spa and all of this, no? And delivery services, retail trade, and 13% real estate. Okay. Next slide. Okay, now I showed you current businesses of graduating students, this time the recent graduates. Francine Capistrano family is from Lukban, Quezon, and they do have a resort and a hotel And she decided to set up her own cafe outside of the hotel and also of the resort. Called it Cafe Florentina. Very minimalist theme cafe that serves food, pasta, flatbread, and a variety of flavors of chicken wings and rice. That is Francine. And now Carlos Guerra, you know, ever since, he always had a focus on coming up with a product that will protect the shoes when it rains. What would you call it? A shoe cover. I said, yeah, this is the best. So he did this. He was my student in market research. I said, do the survey. And he saw that there really was a market. And because of his focus on this, he was able to penetrate outlets like Landers and SNR, and also been able to label it, have his own label, dry kicks. Now he has expanded the range of product that he has. He has what you call raincoats, and the shoe cover is now part of the get-up of those who use PPE during this pandemic. Carlos Guerra, 2018 graduate. Marieli Casaway, 2018 graduate. Kumu Cacao is a Finnish word for chocolate, no? And she set up a small outlet initially in Tagaytay selling not coffee, but chocolate. This time she went against what is being normally offered in Tagaytay. Instead of coffee, you had chocolate. Now, this is a homegrown cafe in Tagaytay that serves traditional hot chocolate, a recipe heirloom of their family, and Filipino snacks. Of course, it was hit by the Tagaytay problem in January, but the last we heard was that she has opened up again in a new location. Okay. Next would be Edward Rojas. We're getting older, 2014. From a hobby of baking cakes and pastries, you know, it became a business, a home-based business. And he was one of the earlier winners of the Entrepreneurial Organization contest. He, I think, got 100,000 or 50,000 pesos for being one of the winners. This continues to be his, shall we say, side hustle, because he also is working in a company now. Next slide. Mika D, 2013. She was into events and beverages. She did her own concoctions. Now she is into co-working space, complete with play areas, napping houses, and so on. She is now married to another EM graduate and has just recently gave birth to her third child. Next slide. Gino Bonifacio, 2013 graduate. Can you imagine this guy was about 230 pounds when he was in college? And he converted his desire to slim down into a business. So he set up what we call a mobile fitness club, where he brought the equipment to the residences of his clients in the Alabang area. And he was able to hit a niche because he saw that there were a lot of expats, wives, who wouldn't venture out really, but would like to exercise. So he tapped on this. He started off with this. He started off catering to this business, to this market, and he was able to slim down, and he is now of about 200 or 197 pounds. He's 6 feet tall. However, now he is now into a bigger business, and he's the president CEO of Mental Health and Wellness Innovation. It is a health solution provider that offers products like hand wash, smart automatic, eco-friendly hand wash system from Switzerland that combines soap and water for a proper hygiene and hand wash. Very timely during this pandemic. Okay, I have the last two now. Ella Santos has always been a fashionista, and she has this was her original business as a student and continues to work on this. And she has her merchandise in SM. Next slide. Monica Masayada, perhaps some of you have tried out her I Do Nails. She's got, I think, about 13, several branches. I know there's one in Eastwood. Okay, next. Jetson Yu, the husband of Micah D, is one of the fastest growing real estate consultancy firms. You know, his original business when he was a student was selling siomai in the Bonifacio Market MRT. I know it because he was my mentor. And one of his complaints was, "Sir, nakakapagod itong negosyo ko. Every night I have to count the siomai that was not sold." So anyway, sabi ko, tiyaga lang. And then the last time I saw him, it was on television. And he was one of the judges in one of these reality shows on entrepreneurship. Next slide. CB Gonzalez has been there for quite a while. Go Salad. He's got about, I guess, 13 branches now. Okay, next slide. If you are in the area of Capitolio, you would know Leah's Cake Shop. The owner is an EM graduate of 206. At that time, his claim to fame was avocado cakes. This continues to be his business. Okay, the last would be Narg Aquino, another mentee of mine. His original business when he was in school was distribution of water. At that time, distribution of bottled water was still new. So he went into that, but when he graduated, he joined an oil company, and after 4 years, went back to their family business to run Unitas Lechon located in San Juan, which is more than 70, well, maybe about 60 years already. They grow their own pigs, and he has expanded the product line. You now have boneless lechon with a lot of condiments. Para bang, what do you call this? Arroz Valenciana and so on. Okay. Next. So at this time, what have I done? I gave you an overview, showed you what are the current projects, and also what our alumni are doing now. Now here, at this time, I'd like us to hear from our very own alumni. We have two who generously accepted sharing with us their time and experience and their story. First one would be Matthew Carreon, a graduate 2018, and the next would be Bianca Lee, graduate 2019, if I'm mistaken. Matt, you have the floor, and can you just introduce yourself?
Hello, hi everyone.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Doc Ellie. Thanks for the introduction. Hi everyone, my name is Matthew Carreon. I am the co-founder of Armstrong Digital, a growth marketing agency. Yeah, graduated in 2019 actually, sir. Yeah. All right,
Okay.
so I can start now. If is that okay? Let me just share my screen. Hi everyone, good morning. So my name is Matthew Carreon, and today I'm just going to be giving you a quick talk on how entrepreneurship helped me love failure. So as I was growing up, I was slowly seeing a trend. Why is it that a lot of the least academically gifted people in the world were constantly achieving great things? Was there hope for me? It seemed like a lot of the people who didn't find success early on were the ones who were achieving bigger things later on in life. So let's just take, for example, Walt Disney. Wait, hold on. There. Um, Early on in his career, he was credited for not having good ideas or any imagination. Right now, his company is worth $160 billion. Another great example is Steve Jobs, who was, I'm sure most of you know, he was fired from his own company in 1985. And Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, actually had to clean shoes for a living because his dad and his mom couldn't provide anything for him. So I had the question. So is there any correlation between early failure and future success? To find some answers, I had to turn to science. In a study done in the US, some scientists wanted to test out for the effect of resilience on living beings. So they took three groups of rats. One group was trained to be helpless, one was trained to overcome failure, and the third group was completely untrained. After 60 days in the lab, the group that was trained to overcome had the 70% survival rate. The ones that were completely untrained were 70%, had the survival rate of 50%. And those that were trained to be helpless, only 27% of the group survived. Hold on now. In a more true to life example, we can turn to the insurance industry. MetLife is one of America's biggest insurance companies, hiring only the best people from the best schools in the US. However, despite their solid credentials, only 50% of the workforce quit after the first year. And in the fourth year, only 20% was left. So this was costing MetLife around $140 million in losses every year. So MetLife hired Dr. Martin Seligman, a renowned psychologist, to solve this problem. They launched the ASQ program. It's a test that determines the optimism or pessimism levels of a person. So unsurprisingly, the lowest scores on the optimism scales were the first ones to go, while the highest scores were the agents who became long-term and highly profitable members of the company. So based on these two studies, we can conclude that resilience, powering through failure, may lead to longer lifespans and long-term career satisfaction. They also found out that early success in school, because these people from MetLife were actually from Harvard, Bentley University, Boston, they found out that early success in school or early success in general wasn't really an accurate determinant of what makes somebody successful in the long term. So how does this tie into my story? Back in high school, I went to LaSalle Green Hills. Before I got the privilege to speak in front of other people, I was actually a person who did not get good grades. Um, I did not know what I wanted to do with my life, and overall, I just didn't know what my purpose was. But everything changed when I went to the University of Asia in the Pacific. The EM program changed my life. Why? At the EM program, it was no longer about memorizing things from a book. They taught me actual business skills, real life values, and principles for running my life. It was around 20% theory and 80% real life application. So, like what I said earlier, it wasn't just memorizing things from a book. They also taught me how to be optimistic, how to be disciplined with my work and personal life, how to work hard, work smart, and most importantly, how to be resilient, how to power through failure. Aside from that, they also taught me a lot of life skills like filing my taxes, hiring people, finding good business partners, building connections, building a store, building a personal brand, managing money, presenting to investors, and really everything you need to be a successful entrepreneur. So in my stay in the University of Asia in the Pacific, I was able to put up 6 businesses. There's only 5 here. I couldn't find the logo for the other one. So yeah, I put up Starks Cafe, Mamma Mia, RJMC Services, Korean Food Zone, Magic Buckets. And as great as that sounds, COVID-19 actually killed all of my businesses. But the EM program taught me that it's okay to fail. The skills and the principles that they taught me were well enough to help me become a real entrepreneur. It wasn't just a one-time thing. I had to try again. 3 months into the pandemic, I started a new company with my partner, Ryan Go. It's called Armstrong Digital. a growth marketing solutions firm that works with companies like Suzuki, Taft Properties, Morris Garages, and other name brands. We're also exploring work. We're now branching out to the US. We just closed a deal last night, and 6 months in with this company, we've actually generated at least 120 million pesos in revenue for our clients. The beauty about the program isn't just about putting up a business once. It's about becoming an actual entrepreneur. The EM program taught me that. The EM program didn't just teach me theories and best practices. It molded me into a skilled and fully equipped adult. I joined the school as a teenager and I honestly came out as a real entrepreneur. They didn't really tell me what my purpose was, but it helped me discover what I was truly made for. And this is only possible because of all the people I met in my stay in the University of Asia in the Pacific. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah. Bianca, you're now on board. Can you share your screen?
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Please introduce yourself, Bianca.
Yes, okay, hold on. I will share my screen. Okay. Okay. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you all for having me here today, and I'm very excited to share my story with everyone this morning. So I'll just introduce myself. So hello, my name is Bianca Lee. I was the CEO and founder of Xiao Longbao Play Kits, which I will be talking about later on. And I was also the UA&P Batch 2019 valedictorian. So just to begin my presentation, I'd like to let everyone know a fun fact about me. So actually, it was my dream in high school to follow in the footsteps of my parents and become a chemist. Yes. Of the 5 universities I applied for and was offered acceptance into, UA&P was the only school that did not offer a program in chemistry. So when I received my acceptance letter from UA&P, I saw that I had passed 2 programs, Industrial Engineering and Entrepreneurial Management. So deep in my heart, I knew that I didn't want to be an engineer. So I decided to pursue a degree in Entrepreneurial Management. And I also made this decision with bearing in mind the fact that UA&P would support me financially for the next 4 years because I was also granted a 100% merit scholarship. Okay, so my story as an EM student may not be what is typical. So a lot of my peers had family businesses that were going to be passed on to them. And I didn't grow, and that wasn't the case for me. I also didn't grow up wanting to pursue business. I was more of a math and science kind of girl, if that isn't obvious already. But I am honored to be given the opportunity this morning to share my journey and my unique experiences having gone through the EM program. So during my valedictory speech last 2019, I coined my own term for the phenomenon of finding the good in the bad, or the silver lining when things go wrong or when things don't go as you planned or wanted. So this is what I call a turnaround, okay? When things turn around after looking bad, after looking like it's all going to waste. So for me, choosing EM over my dream course was a turnaround. It was one of the biggest blessings in my life, and it's a choice that I really do not regret at all making because of what I've learned and the relationships I've built and continue to maintain. However, it was quite the roller coaster ride for me. So just as how businesses go through a bumpy life cycle, going through growth and decline after growth and decline over and over again, my journey going through the EM program wasn't a walk in the park as well. So I started, just as was mentioned prior by Doc Ellie, the NBV program, the EM program requires you to start your own business and successfully run it for you to successfully get the degree. So my new business venture, or NBV, was Xiao Longbao Play Kits, a business engaged in the manufacture and sale of toys and learning kits that ultimately help kids learn Mandarin Chinese in a more fun and enjoyable way. And you know, I really loved how the EM program encouraged us, me and my peers, to be creative in how we address the problems, pain points, and needs of potential consumers. So my business idea stemmed from a market opportunity I observed in my home down south. So I live 5 minutes away from Nuvali. And 4 years ago, my father, who is Chinese but grew up in the Philippines, started tutoring kids in our area who started going to school in Xavier School Nuvali. The problem here was 70% of the kids who went to that school had no background in Chinese at all. Okay. So what ended up happening was these kids, especially those who were in grade school, very young, ended up stressed, very unhappy, and studying for the sake of the grade. So there was no more joy in learning. And I saw an opportunity here to provide a fun solution for these kids who experience this problem, this pain point, and their families. Okay? Since my product was a novelty in the market, so just to give you guys context, my product is a sensorial toy. It's called a quiet book. It's a soft toy that allows kids to learn in a kinesthetic manner. So if it weren't, so this product, it's never been done before. You can't find a product like this in the market where a quiet book teaches a language to a child. So it was quite a challenge for me to defend it in front of the NBV panelists. But it was worth it in the end because I was able to create something special, a product that I was proud of, and I was able to make many kids happy. Okay, but I wouldn't have been able to develop this idea without my general education or CAS subjects. So like Doc Ellie mentioned prior, we have 3 tracks in the EM program, the NBV track, the academic track, and the PDS or personal development track. So all of these subjects, even though they seem unrelated to the study of business, it really helped me develop my critical thinking skills and my sense of empathy, responsibility towards others. And this I believe is an important skill entrepreneurs have because we shouldn't be pushing products that people don't need. We should be pushing for products or services that truly address a real, tangible consumer need and not just what we think people would want to buy, right? Because entrepreneurship isn't all about making money, even though it's an integral part of doing so. It wasn't all roses, though. I can't count how many times I wanted to give up and shift to another university to pursue my original plan of studying chemistry. But I had a very strong support system, just like Matthew. I had a lot of friends in the EM program, faculty supporting me, and then my business and spiritual mentors, and of course, my family as well. So if it weren't for the love and support that these people had given me during my time in UA&P, I wouldn't have had the courage to persevere in spite of the many negative thoughts I had about myself and about my capability to do business. And not only that, like Doc Ellie also mentioned, we have students joining competitions, being able to present their businesses to other people, to investors, to other entrepreneurs. I also had that opportunity last year. So I was a finalist for the Entrepreneurs Organization Global Student Entrepreneur Awards, where I was able to present my NBV in front of the most successful entrepreneurs in the country. I was mentored by the CEO and founder of Bose Coffee, and I was able to gain a lot of valuable connections that I know would add value to my business in the future. So all of these experiences really did help increase my confidence as being part of the program, that I belonged here, that I had value to add, and that I wasn't just someone who lost her way. Okay, so after graduating, though, I was faced with many questions about what I wanted to do with my life. Do I continue my NBV? Do I pursue another business? Or do I put my dreams of being an entrepreneur on hold to explore other opportunities? Was it still possible for me to pursue my passion and at the same time be financially stable enough to support myself and my family after graduation? So, I have the EM program to really thank for increasing my self-awareness. So this is where the PDS track comes in. We're not only taught how to start businesses and run them successfully, we're also taught to be better versions of ourselves. So the questions that I mentioned earlier were very difficult for me to answer. I had to weigh the pros and cons of a lot of the choices I wanted to make, a lot of the things that I wanted to do, against my current circumstances and capabilities. So in one of our classes, for those who will be taking up EM in the future, you'll be taking a class called Entrepreneurial Behavior. So we were taught that entrepreneurial success is the synergy among 3 things: the needs of investors, or those who will be funding your business, the needs of your potential customers or consumers, and your capabilities as an entrepreneur. Okay, so all of these things have to be harmonized for you to achieve entrepreneurial success according to this model. So unfortunately, due to personal circumstances, I had to put my dreams of running my own businesses on hold. However, nothing is lost because the EM program, again, does so much more for you than teach you how to successfully start and run a startup. Okay, so in fact, some graduates of our program end up becoming lawyers or having successful careers in the corporate world in multinational companies, or some even become aircraft pilots. Okay, so how is this possible? Why is this possible? Okay, it's because the EM program ultimately teaches you how to build value, not just in business, but also in life. So this is our tagline, our slogan as a program. Okay, it teaches you how to harmonize your strengths and weaknesses with the opportunities and threats in your current and external environment. And it develops in you the attitudes and skills that you'll be needing to successfully lead a life, a fulfilling life, a life that you can be proud of. Okay, so at first, just to be blunt with you all, just to be honest, I was very conscious when, after graduating, I decided not to run my NBV again. It was in the works. I was actually planning to relaunch it under a new brand, but many things happened that you don't anticipate. So the Taal volcano erupted, which halted my production. And then COVID-19 happened, which further halted my production. So I had to make some tough decisions about what I wanted to do for my life and how I was going to support myself and my family. But again, nothing is lost, only put on hold. So I am still building value where I am now. So I currently am affiliated with the Makati Business Club. I am involved in conducting policy and economic research right now. And I know that I will continue building value wherever I choose to be, because what I've learned and the relationships that I've built during my time as an EM student in the program. So again, nothing, no matter what you do, no matter what you choose to do in life, the EM program is such a game changer. It really builds you and molds you to be the best person you can be, to lead a life that you can be proud of. So again, thank you very much for your time, and good morning, everyone.
Thank you, Bianca and Matthew, for sharing your life story. It is, you can see that it is work in progress for all of us. Life doesn't end with the series of misfortunes or obstacles. It's how we face up to it. So, and the only way to do it really is three things that you have been trained in EM, which is be real, be authentic, and be innovative, be genuine. But you have to have that innovative spirit all the time. So God bless everyone. So would you want us to entertain a Q&A, Mike? Or would you want us to show you what are the requirements to, to enroll?
But we do have a few questions here, Doc.
Okay.
So I'm just going to address this to all three of you. You can all take turns answering, or maybe just leave it to the other. So the first question is, what makes the Entrepreneurial Management program unique from management and business courses?
Well, that's very good. Would you want to answer it, Bianca, or I answer it? Better.
Sir, I mean, I can add na lang. Even Matthew can add, I guess.
I'll start. Okay. As I've said, there are three tracks now. You have the knowledge, the academic track, and then the application track, which is setting up and running the business while you're in college. The difference is we develop more a deepening of awareness of looking for opportunities at all time. You're really opportunity seeking, looking for opportunities to solve problems of people, to spot irritants that you can convert into a product and satisfy the need of customers. So that the difference now is that apart from the academic, you have to apply the theories that you have learned, and make sure that it is successful for you to be able to earn the degree of Bachelor of Science in Entrepreneurial Management. Yeah, any additions to you guys? Matt?
None for me, sir, because I don't really have a point of comparison. So, but if we're talking about what makes the EM program special, without comparing it to other courses, it's just that you enter the course with the knowledge that you'll be graduating with a business. So I think that was the most enticing thing for me. It's not
Okay.
just theoretical. Yeah. It's like you're going there to start something that actually makes money. And for me, that's really what got me into the program in the first place.
Thank
I
you.
agree with
Thank
that. I agree with what Matthew said. It's very attractive, the fact that you're given freedom to actually pursue something you'd like and at the same time make money. And just to share with you all, EM graduates are something else. I praise the resilience and the agility of many of my batchmates who continue to run businesses during this time. So if you talk to many EM students, especially those in fourth year, there are people cutting classes to talk to business clients. There are people rushing to the BIR RDOs to file their taxes. So it's really a program that challenges you to become to grow up. I guess you could say grow up faster. It challenges you to really think about what you want and how to get it in a way that makes you happy and allows you to support people and yourself. So I think that's what's special about the EM program, right? It really molds you, even if it's uncomfortable. It really molds you to be the best person that you can be. It really challenges you to look beyond yourself and to see how you can help people, and at the same time support yourself.
So in short, it is a race to maturity. Okay, Mike.
Okay, for the second question, what personality traits or attributes should a student embody in order to be successful in this course or industry? I think maybe this one we can also get from the two alumni since they're.
Everyone? Okay. Well, everybody has different motivation for doing things. No, you must have to have the passion to become what you want to be, and if you want to, be your own boss and set up a business that will not only help yourself but help others, then that would be a good starting point. Now, it takes all kinds. You have quiet people, you have different types. But what is common to them is really the passion, no? And the mindset to become what they want to be, become an entrepreneur, compared to people who would like to be a biologist, who would like to be a chemist, and so on. So it's your decision, it's your call, it's your life. So entrepreneurship is not for everyone. If you're risk averse, then you got a problem, because you will have a lot of problems. You will be challenged by old guys like us as mentors or tormentors. But in the end, you come up to be the best person that you can be when you graduate. Yeah.
Well, just to add, one thing that I also liked about the EM program was they didn't really force you to become this particular type of person. It's like come as you are, but you're gonna have to make this business work. You're still gonna have to embody a few key principles like commitment, being a bit thick-skinned, being disciplined, and most importantly, being resilient. Because business success doesn't really happen overnight. If you guys heard my story, I had a few businesses, everything went bankrupt. But because the EM program taught me how to be resilient, instead of being depressed about it, instead of beating myself up over it, uh, instantly, the moment my partner and I decided to close all the stores, we were like, okay, what's our next move? And I think that's the biggest lesson that I got from the EM program is you just have to keep moving forward.
Yeah, it really prepares you for life. We had a student whose father had an accident, no, and he died in this ultramarathon thing in Bicol, and he was in fourth year, and because he was prepared to take on the shoes, take over the business of their father, it was easy for him to transition, and he's doing all right, and he took it in stride and gave his very best shot.
I agree with all the points of Matthew and Doc Ellie, but just to add, I guess, so with resilience, with perseverance comes an openness to learning. So that's one thing that it's really common among all of us. If something doesn't work, right, like what Matthew said, right, what's the next move? And if I don't know what it's about, I can learn. So that willingness to do what you want, even if people say it's not going to work, that's really something you need to have. So in my case, for example, I really wanted to run my NBV after graduating because I was super passionate about my product and my brand, but so many things happened. And I was like, okay, what's the best thing now? What's the best thing now for me to do? I had to pivot as well. So in Matthew's case, and in the case of many of my peers, business talaga. But in my case, it was something that I could not pursue yet due to personal circumstances. So what did I do? I banked on my strengths, and the ENT program teaches you how to do that. How do you bank on your strengths, and how do you overcome your weaknesses to exploit opportunities and avoid threats? So the research project I'm part of now, it's dealing with something I don't really know a lot about. Going in, the role I was given is more fit for a political economy student or an economics graduate. But I knew that I needed to make money. I knew that I had to make it quick. And I said, okay, sige, go. And it was a very steep learning curve. But because of what I learned as an EM student, the skills that they imparted to me, I was able to do it. So ayun, openness to learning, the humility to learn as well, and saying that I don't know something, but I'm willing to do what it takes so that I can get to where I need to be. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, we have one final question.
Okay.
What are some of the challenges that you encountered during the process and right now that you're in the position already?
Okay.
I assume he means like the process of setting up a business. It's not specified here, but let's assume that.
Oh, okay. So like NBV, maybe the
Uh,
NBV process.
Actually, every day is a challenge, if I'm being honest. Like even after graduating, I still struggle to get out of bed every morning. So there's a lot of factors. Like it depends on the business model also. Like when it comes to retail, what's my next product or how are my costs doing? When it comes to a service business like mine, where's my next client? What are our next 5 moves? Where do we put the money we're making? So to answer your question, it's going to be challenging every day. There's really no specific challenge per step of the process. Yeah. Bianca might have better insights than me.
Well, just to add, I guess, you're right. It's challenging every day. The process itself of having to defend your idea in front of the panelists was grueling. If I remember correctly, I think every panel week, so that was our hell week. For me and my batchmates, we would always be scared about our presentations, whether or not our papers were comprehensive enough, whether or not our panelists would grill us or roast us. So I mean, those things were challenging, but of course they added to the charm of the program, and it allowed me to bond with my batchmates. We bonded over our shared experiences with this program. And when it came when fourth year came around and we had to run our own businesses, my God, because my production space for my NBV was all the way in the province. So I live in Cavite, so 5 minutes away from Tagaytay and Nuvali, but I would stay in a condo in Pasig for school. So there were days where, I had to cut class so I could go back home and train my employees. There were days where I had to cut class so that I could go and meet clients, talk to people where I could sell my product, the distribution channels. There were days where I had to cut class and pull all-nighters to get my inventory ready for a bazaar. So you'll encounter things like that where you're really pushed to your limit. And many times you'll ask yourself, oh my God, kaya ko pa to? Do I stop? Do I keep on going? But of course, I mean, with your support system, so a really good, strong support system is crucial for entrepreneurs. You hear a lot of entrepreneurs saying, I'm self-made. But I really think that's not the case. No one is ever self-made. We all get to where we are with the help and love of other people and our clients, our customers, etc. People who help us get to where we are. So it's even before you start thinking about a business idea, make sure that you have a really good support system, people you can talk to about your ideas, people who can validate for you, people who can call you out when they think that you can improve on something. So yeah, it's going to be a challenge and it's going to be fun actually. I mean, look, during that time I was crying and stressed all the time, I guess. But looking back, I wouldn't trade that experience for the world because it was fun all in all. And I had a lot of people rooting for me and taking care of me as well.
Just to add to what Bianca said also, I hope what I said didn't really scare you off from trying entrepreneurship. It's actually really, really challenging, but like Bianca, there were times that I would be crying in the car because of stress, but there were also times that I would be crying tears of joy because we hit goals. There would be times I'd be shouting with my partners because of just how happy we were that we were actually making our dreams a reality. So yeah, definitely it's a really, really stressful process, but like what Bianca said, I wouldn't trade any of it for the world.
All right, so those are all your questions. Do you guys want to add anything before we wrap up? Doc, you're muted. Doc, your microphone's not on.
I said at this time, would you want us to present already the next steps if you want to enroll? What are the things that you should be doing? Can you hear me, Mike?
Could you repeat, please, Doc?
Okay.
Oh yeah, the requirements.
There's
Yes.
no more questions. Then we'll talk about the requirements of the program. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead, Doc.
Okay. Weng, are you okay? Do you now have a light in your place? Otherwise, I'll be the one to share it. Okay. Okay. Weng, would you like to do it? Weng is our marketing person for the EM program. Would you want to talk about it, Weng? Oh, okay. I think I'll do it. She is having some connectivity problem she lives in Angono. So what are we looking for if you want to be? First, you've got to be highly creative. You're basically people, they're more right brain, very creative. And the left brain will take care of that. You will catch up, no? And you have to have that strong desire or passion to put up a business, not wanting to be employed, but to be an employer. No? And you are mature, responsible, persistent, and highly motivated. As I've said, this program is really a race to maturity. For the parents, this one is a program you may want to consider for your children because nothing is sure in this world, you know. And our program prepares your children not only for business but for life because they apply what they've learned right away while they're in college. And of course, they have to possess adequate absorption and expression in English and Filipino and counting skills. If you know how many this is, you're okay. Okay, this is 11, no, 10 pala, 10 fingers. Okay. In my class, for example, if you do not talk, you don't pass. Because if you're an entrepreneur, how can you do business if you don't talk and you don't develop your communication skills? Diba? So we teach you how to present a sales pitch and so on, and that you are risk takers. Risk takers in the sense that you would like to try something new. You'd like to push yourselves, no, and know when to pull back also at the same time. Okay, next slide. Okay, we have an online exam coming on December 5. And the submission requirements, you still have time. It's up to November 25, and the release the results on February 12. Okay. Okay. Now, apart from the, by the way, apart from the written exam, more important is the a panel interview that we conduct for students who want to apply for the program. We want to really validate their motivation and also their communication skills. No? It doesn't mean to say that you've got poor communication that we don't take it. It's got to be a balance because you're in school to learn. And our attitude is you're not coming here to fail, but rather we'll give you all the chances to be the best that you can be as a student and graduate with the degree that you would like to finish with. So you can contact us in this number, and also you can write the EM program directly, emprogram@uap.asia. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, so if that is it, we officially conclude the 9th episode of Unitas Online featuring the EM program. Now, just a few reminders for admissions for those of you applying. Application period for scholars is now closed. Please take note of that. But the exam date for college applicants is on December 5 and for junior college applicants on December 12. Submission of requirements has been extended to November 27. So you still have a few days left to submit. And exams will all be conducted online. So thank you everyone for attending this webinar. We hope that this helped answer all the concerns and questions you may have had about our university and the EM program. But if you have any more, please do not hesitate to message us on the official Facebook page of UA&P or chat us at www.uap.asia. So once again, I'm Mike Racha, your episode 9 Unitas Online host, signing off. We look forward to seeing you again in the future episodes of Unitas Online. So stay safe, everyone, and we hope to see you guys.